Welcome everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to understand interval notation and identify the intervals in which a function exists, how to find the domain of a function both algebraically and graphically, how to determine how a function behaves around given values, how to determine when and where a hole or asymptote occurs, how to determine the x-intercepts of a function, and how to determine the multiplicity of the roots of a function. How are we learning it? Through the sketching function characteristics notes and the sketching function characteristics assignment. When can we use this information? To understand boundaries, to determine which possible solutions fall within the boundaries and which do not. To recognize trends in graphs to determine the trends in the stock market. And to examine financial trends in a business and determine when the value might reach zero and the business goes into debt. How do you know you learned it? By getting a score of 4 on the sketching function characteristics assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will begin by going over our learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. After that, I'll give you time to complete the sketching function characteristics assignment on Desmos. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your Before You Go. Your only homework for tonight is to continue working on the reasoning with features of functions study guide and any incomplete assignments that you may have.
Let's talk now about how to sign in to Desmos to complete your work. So what we're going to do is you're going to click on the link to go to the assignment, and it should take you to a page that looks kind of like this. And right here where it says sign in with Google, we're going to click there. And it's going to pop up with our email accounts. You're going to click on your school email account, and it should already have you logged in because you should have already been logged in using Google Classroom. From there, I'm just going to click Start the Activity, and it will take me into the assignment and allow me to begin. So that's how you will log in to Desmos using Google.
Let's take a look now at the sketching function characteristics assignment. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, there's a link here to take us to the Desmos activity. Go ahead and click on that link, and it should take you to a page that looks like this. We'll go ahead and click Start the Activity. The activity also begins with the learning goals and success criteria. We'll go ahead and click Next. Now we're going to draw a sketch of a graph with these characteristics over here. So it says the domain goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. So that means it's going to go all the way across. The range is from negative infinity to 3. So we know it's not going to go below this line here somewhere. So we know it's not going to go above this line here. So we're going to just go ahead and draw in an asymptote here. That can represent my asymptote just like that. So I know it's not going to cross that line. So I just need to sketch everything below it. And it has 2 x-intercepts. Both of them are negative. So it doesn't matter where they are. It's just 2 of them are negative. And 1 root at one of the x-intercepts and 3 roots at the other. So that means that it has a multiplicity of 1 and a multiplicity of 3, so it's going to pass through in both situations. So I'm just going to draw 2 dots, just like this. Those can represent my 2 points of x-intercepts, and we know it's going to pass through. So we can have something like this that passes through, and then kind of gets really close and passes here. Then this one's going to come down and pass through as well. And then it's got to go something like this because it can't cross that point. But it can touch it. So something like that would work. So that would be a sketch of my function. Now we'll take a look at the next one. It says that the domain is discrete, which means it doesn't break up. And is not defined for values of x less than -2. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a horizontal asymptote here at x equals -2. Because we know it's not defined for anything less than this, so it can't be anything on this side. And there's only 1 root. So we don't know where it is, but there's 1 root somewhere here. And the y-intercept is negative and the x-intercept is positive. So y-intercept is negative, x-intercept is positive, something like that. And that means that it's going to look something like this, and it has 1 root, meaning that it passes through. So something like this could represent what we're looking at. For this one, it says, for each of the graphs given below, write an equation of a polynomial function whose graph has the same x-intercepts. So we're going to write an equation that has the same x-intercepts. So we have this one here. Rather than trying to write an equation just straight out, it's easiest to do like this. Y equals, and then we're going to put it in parentheses, x, and we have x-intercept at -1, so this would be +1. So now notice we have the cross through, and we have our function here that passes through right there. And then we're going to change this to be x -3. That gives me this shape here, and notice my x-intercepts are in the right place. And now I'm just going to play with the multiplicity to try to get it to match up. So here, maybe negative, that's going to change this and flip it over. Now, if I make this multiplicity 2, nope, that didn't help. What about 3? No, so we're just going to keep playing with these until we get it to where we want it to be. So 5, and so on. So maybe this should be 3. And we'll just keep playing with this until we get it to where we want it to be, until it overlaps. And you'll keep doing that for this one as well, and this one. Then when you're done, you'll go ahead and go back to your Google form and click Next. This will take you to your Before You Go. Go ahead and fill out your Before You Go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.